The California Association for Bilingual Education grew out of the civil rights movement of the 1960s and 70s. With the signing of the U.S. Federal Bilingual Education Act in 1968, bilingual education programs began to be developed in California and the entire nation. As part of this movement, the first statewide California Bilingual Conference was held in 1975. And soon after, in 1976, CABE was established as a non-profit organization. CABE's 50-year journey continues to advance the CABE vision of biliteracy, multicultural competency, and educational equity for all.
Boy, there's been so many things that CABE has really been a pioneer in the state of California, including bilingual education.
The field is much better off having CABE. And the field might not even exist. If CABE didn't exist, bilingual education could have been swallowed up into something else.
How did we get that first conference started? Well, we were again sitting around and saying, we're ready now because we have the people to join in and participate in the conference. So let's do the conference. That was in Riverside. I was in Riverside. And Carlos Cortez was part of that. We said, okay, let's start organizing. So we started to organize, and CABE, California Association of Bilingual Education, became a reality. And with it, a whole cadre of people just joined in. And it wasn't a question of, should I join or not? I mean, they were ready to join.
I was a brand new teacher in 1971, 72, 73. And that's when the first few conferences were being held in the local colleges. I remember one year at UC Riverside, where the director of Title VII at that time was Fernando Worrell, asked me if he could send some people in to visit us, our classroom. And before we knew it, we had 50 or maybe 200 educators coming to see what we were doing that was so great for our bilingual or limited English-speaking students in Riverside Unified.
This was statewide. We brought in some people from Arizona, too, and New Mexico, because they heard about us and they wanted to join. And I said, sure, come on down. I said, but we're California, basically.
And the combination of vendors, academics, practitioners, politicians, and policymakers was one of the great strengths of CABE. And no one went to a CABE conference and left the same way before they entered.
Great story was we would always have, the first day we'd have jumping off the conference and all that. And then the next day we'd do the same thing. And at night we would have a dinner, right? And I remember the one dinner we had, we planned for 250, 300 people, and something like 500 showed up. I mean, it was just people were coming in through the doors, and we ran out of food, and we fed them off of catering trucks.
We had legislation in California, 1968, that legitimized bilingual education. And from that point forth, we needed teachers, we needed curriculum, we needed professional development, we needed so many things. And CABE has been a source in developing all of that.
And we were, I think, one of the few organizations that was specifically providing staff development and professional development to paraeducators.
I was the president of CABE from 1983 to 85, but as a member of the state board, I was appointed in 76. Between 76 and 83, I was introduced to CABE and many of its remarkable members.
I remember being in awe by the masters, by Chuck Acosta, by Bob Cruz, by Olivia Martinez, by Shelley, by highly dedicated people who made it their life's purpose to advocate for children.
All of us, these are on the shoulders of those movements, the women's movement, and I would say bilingual education. And so there was all that energy and there was all that hope. And for me, I just saw that CABE was a place that, it had a statewide presence, and it had that beginning structure. And it was something that we could build on, and it could be a support for the teachers that were out there really scrounging for training and materials. It was a real positive energy, you know.
Throughout the years as a bilingual teacher, as an administrator, I had the opportunity to see the work that CABE did to support bilingual education. And for me, in particular, as a college student, that was the first time I actually went to a CABE conference. I was so excited and felt connected and really felt like I belonged.
CABE is an organization working for a group of children that had been abandoned basically within the educational system. The important role that they've played historically is really remarkable. And I think at the time that you're in the middle of the fight, you're not really aware of how critically important your actions are going to be in the future. If I were to have a message at all for CABE members then and now, it's to be really acutely aware of the historical moment that you're in.
Feliz 50 aniversario, CABE. Por otros 50 años más.